This video provides information about zoning bylaw amendments that will be brought forward for City Council's consideration with regards to removing minimum parking requirements. Currently, the City requires a set amount of parking to be provided on a property for most residential, commercial, and industrial buildings. This amount is based on the size of the building, the number of housing units, or the use inside. City Council has directed the review of parking requirements to remove the requirement to provide a minimum set amount, otherwise known as the minimum parking requirement. As part of the Housing Action Plan, direction has been provided from Council to remove minimum parking requirements along major transit corridors for all uses and citywide for affordable housing. Council has also directed administration to pursue removing minimum parking requirements citywide for all uses. The City will plan to propose amendments with the intention of removing minimum parking requirements citywide for the summer of 2024. A comprehensive review of parking rates across Saskatoon has not been done in at least 25 years. Parking requirements became prevalent in the mid-1900s when car ownership became more common. They were typically incorporated into zoning bylaws as a way for cities to mandate a specific number of parking spaces for new development. In recent years, a number of cities across North America have been removing or reducing parking requirements. A primary trade-off to be considered when making decisions about parking requirements is the choice between abundant parking, costs, and walkability. A higher minimum parking requirement will lead to abundant parking being provided, but it will also increase the total cost of the development, raising costs and rents. Abundant parking will also impact the built environment, as parking lots separating buildings make for a more desirable destination to drive to and a less desirable area to walk. The move to remove minimum parking requirements is a choice towards greater affordability and walkability. The City is proposing to remove minimum parking requirements citywide. Providing the same or more parking than what is currently required would still be permitted. However, the City would not determine the appropriate minimum standard of parking to provide. We would still be regulating parking facilities in terms of size of parking stalls, interactions with the roadways for access, and things of that nature, but moving away from requiring a certain number of spaces. There are many potential benefits to removing parking requirements. In particular, it may improve overall affordability as it allows for space previously dedicated to parking to be used for more homes or more commercial space. It can result in faster turnaround for permits in the development review process. It provides flexibility for businesses, developers, and landowners to make decisions about how to more efficiently use their land, including how much parking should be provided. It can support the City's goals for sustainability and environmental leadership. It supports an urban form and land use pattern which promotes walkability, transit, and other modes of active transportation. It will provide more flexibility for sites, including smaller infill sites or adaptive reuse properties. It would reduce the risk of parking oversupply, and businesses, developers, and landowners would still be able to provide additional parking beyond current requirements if they determine they need it. Removing minimum parking requirements also comes with certain known risks or drawbacks. Developers may not provide adequate parking, which may result in spillover to on-street parking and additional complaints or concerns from adjacent properties. This may generate the need for additional on-street parking management and enforcement. Another drawback is that a reduced number of parking spaces, in the absence of viable alternative transportation modes and infrastructure, may result in reduced stability and higher costs to access some locations for those who currently drive. This transition is expected to improve as alternative modes of transportation infrastructure, such as transit, cycling, and walking, are built. And next, opposition to or fear of change. Although this change will happen in an incremental way as new developments are built out, it is a big shift in the way that land is regulated in the City. While the required number of standard parking spaces will be removed, parking requirements will continue to apply for certain exceptions. Specifically, minimum accessible parking requirements, minimum bicycle parking requirements, loading space requirements, and other exceptions, such as visitor parking, will be considered. General standards for parking will also continue to apply, such as stall dimensions and surface requirements. The proposed changes for removing minimum parking requirements will be brought forward to a meeting of the Municipal Planning Commission, followed by a public hearing in the summer of 2024. There are a number of ways to stay informed about the Housing Accelerator Fund initiatives. You can visit saskatoon.ca/engage regularly for updates, or sign up for the Housing Accelerator Fund e-newsletter by visiting saskatoon.ca/housing action plan and clicking subscribe for project updates, or you can send questions to zoningbylaw@saskatoon.ca.